Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and what a day we have lined up for you. We've got PPI, big inflation release, that's happening in 55 minutes. We've got retail sales also coming out in 55 minutes. Yesterday we had pretty good CPI, nothing amazing, but it did allow the market to rally to all-time highs. PPI is sort of a look in the future what CPI can be. It's the producer price index. And what we're looking at is what inflation is higher up in the system that can come into consumers. So it's a great gauge. We're getting that today. What else are we getting? Well, it's Bank of America earnings. Bank of America earnings. We know they have ties with Ripple. We're waiting for their announcement. Is today going to be the day where they say the word XRP or mention RLUSD? We'll talk a bit more about their partnership with Ripple. Well, that all happens in today's lineup of shows. So I'll be covering PPI, looking a little bit into the news around Bank of America, but Martyn will be live after this. Actually, during this, towards the end of the stream, Martyn will be going live early with the Bank of America earnings, but that's all about in about 54 minutes when all of that happens. So let's get prepared for it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe. And let's get straight into today's show. Let me come over here. Okay, brilliant. Who do we have in the show at the moment? We have got Silver Days XRP. Wonderful to have you here. We've got Bitcoins. Craig, lovely to see you as well. Let's go over to the live chat and bring it on the screen. Let me put that timer on the screen as well. Posting again for the #1 crown. Bitcoin, Craig wants the #1 crown. I love it. I love it. We've got the XRP to the moon mug today because it could be a massive day for XRP. I mean, if Bank of America mentioned XRP, we could be straight up at close to $5 straight away potentially. So very, very interesting stuff. I'll be watching that earnings as well. We'll all be live on the show. Latter day data says if XRP goes up, will it be good or bad for Ethereum? In general, the crypto market, the top move, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP will move in line. If it's specific news for XRP, it might filter out into the others. If it's specific news for Ethereum, it might filter out to the others. If Bitcoin's moving, then Ethereum and XRP will normally move in the same direction. So if XRP goes up, will that be good or bad for Ethereum? Normally, if XRP is going up, Ethereum's going up as well. But that's probably because Bitcoin's going up. Bitcoin's Craig says not there yet. So again, yeah. Bitcoin Craig wants to be #1. It's Tony says good morning. Bitcoin's Craig says what? Why no #1? What did you do, Bitcoin's Craig? Why do you think you should be #1? I think it's based on like super chats and points and how much you comment. It's based on quite a few things. I think if you type it into the internet, you can see exactly what how to become #1. Rhino Skin says hi everyone. Bitcoin's Craig says need it. Brian Bynum says 500 screen SC will get you #1. Oh, 500. Oh, $500 super chat. Right. Yes, that'll definitely get you #1. Bitcoin Craig says still haven't got it. Human Being Liz says hello, all nice people. Bitcoin's Craig says giving up now. No, don't give up. You're #2. You'll get there. Slim M says hello everyone. It's Antony says, are we ready for today? It's going to be a big day. Bank of America earnings. Are they going to mention XRP? We do have some sources indicating that they will. At least what Martyn was saying yesterday is they will, but is tomorrow going to be the day they do? So we'll have to wait and see. We've also got PPI inflation as well. #2 we'll have to do. #2 is great. Yolanda says, hello, beautiful people. Good morning, says Kev. Thank you, Yolanda, for being here. Human Being Liz is here. Martyn will be live after this. Just made it home. Hope I can follow and understand. Human Being Liz, I hope so too. We always try and break it down. I know there's a little bit of a language barrier for you. Bitcoin's Craig says, killed it today, and I've been ITIL training all day too. I'm a multitasker. I love it. World Free Speech says, and what's up? 7% now. Profit taking has started. Revved Up Biker says, breaking news. Yes, we do have that news here for you. Let's go straight to it. This is breaking news from Ripple. We've secured our preliminary electronic money issuance license approval from Luxembourg's Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier, the CSSF. This is a pivotal step towards scaling Ripple's payments across the EU, bringing institutional-grade digital asset infrastructure to the region. The momentum is global. I mean, this is incredible work by Ripple. The momentum is global. 75 plus licenses and registrations worldwide, 95 billion in volume processed to date, reaching 90% of daily FX markets. With the EU taking the leap in building regulatory framework for digital assets, we're helping institutions transition from pilot to commercial scale, and we're bridging the gap between legacy finance and digital future to unlock trillions in dormant capital. Another big win for Ripple. We have to give a little bit of a celebration there. Another license obtained, another stride forward. This is all gearing up to be the internet of value. So we are very excited about all of this breaking news all the time. Another one here in Europe. Lovely to see. I wanted to bring that breaking news to you as well. If you have just tuned in, if everyone can make sure to just take a second to hit that like button, subscribe. We've got inflation data, Bank of America earnings, and we've got retail sales. We've got so much information for you in today's show, and I just want to make sure that everyone, and this reaches everyone. So if you can hit the like button, that'd be amazing. Yolanda says, hit the like button. There we go. Bitcoin Craig says, Pepe has been my friend today. What a mover. What's Pepe doing today? Let's have a quick look. Pepe. Who says you can't make money with meme coins? What's it doing today? I don't think it's done much today. Yesterday. Pepe hasn't moved today, Bitcoin Craig. Yesterday, Pepe was up 14%. Today, it hasn't moved. But yeah, I remember when this first came out, I was buying this at a fraction of a cent. Let me see. Looking at the right one. Let's go on to Kraken. Yeah, I remember buying this. I mean, it went up 1,000% since I bought it. I didn't buy much to begin with, but it meant a lot. Yeah, look at that, 3,000% move. I remember it was somewhere along here I bought it. I mean, it's incredible. I don't really think there's any great fundamentals to it all, but it doesn't actually matter at the end of the day. The goal is to make money. If you can identify the sentiment, whether it's a stock, crypto, XRP, if you can identify the sentiment, if you can understand it early enough, you don't have to be super early, but early enough, you can still make a great gain. So at the end of the day, for me, the goal is to make money. Yes, I'll try and do it in a more moral way. I don't want to invest in certain companies or short certain stocks. But something like a meme coin, I don't think there's anything morally wrong with buying a meme coin early and making some money. Let's go back to your live chat, just because we are gearing up ready for PPI. We had CPI yesterday. PPI is going to give us better indication for the future. We've got tariffs as well today, potentially coming to an end. So we will be covering that as well. Hit the like button, says Yolanda. Bitcoin's Craig says, Pepe has been my friend today. What a mover. Robert Elliott says, good morning. Human Being Liz says, to Abrazo. Robert Elliott says, good evening. Sorry, the chat just jumped, so let me go back. We need some rooster action. This is actually further away from where the roosters are. Robert Elliott says, 7 days says 100, 100, 100. Robert Elliott's loving it. Yorkshire says, let's have it UK. Yolanda says, hello, Liz. God, I wouldn't know how to even say that. Lost, not yet found. Human Being Liz says, thank you, Yolanda. Nitsuko says, XRP family, let's go. Chris F says, good morning. Oh, Yolanda says, hello, Liz. Glad you made it home. Urban says, afternoon sensei. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Human Being says, is talking to Yolanda. I long XRP at 213. Oof. A little bit higher than I would have. We have an XRP weekly newsletter. Let me just, we are the only people in the world with an XRP newsletter. If you're not subscribed to the XRP newsletter, I don't know what you're doing. It's part of the main newsletter, but you get it every Sunday. If you're an investor in XRP, you want to know the news. So every weekend we bring out the news, but every weekend I also have the charts. I also debunk people. I also react to X posts and give you the real information. But the charts for the last 4 weeks have been absolutely spot on. I can't promise they're going to continue being spot on, and I don't tell you it's financial advice. I don't want people to follow the trades, but I've been showing you how the technical analysis works, and go back and can actually go see every single one of the posts. We looked at the double bottom around 183, then we looked at the breakout at 180. Then we recently looked at the bottom being formed at 206. So we are still sort of in a long position to 230. So go check out the XRP weekly newsletter. I'll give you the link. So this link gives you a 1 week free trial to the premium plan. You can still sign up on the free plan and get access to the XRP weekly newsletter. There's a lot coming to the premium plan. This week we're launching the portfolio challenge, and then very shortly after the training, the chart analysis course will be out. The portfolio challenge, we're trying to turn 5,000 into a million, as high as we can get it. That's I've got the post ready to post. I just want to make the first move as well. So all of that is in the newsletter if you want the premium. The XRP weeklies in the free. It's in the live chat right now. You can choose which one you like. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to Bank of America earnings and also PPI. So I'm going to read through these comments and then go over to our the thoughts about what's about to happen. Vocal Foster says today's Supreme Court ruling is illegal. Oh, ruling if it's illegal, big pump for XRP. Yeah, it could be, but it could also bring uncertainty. And it'll be in the fine words. Does America have to refund? If there's a refund situation, then instead of it being good, it can be a real bad situation. A-Train says, if they do mention XRP today, do you believe we'll see? Do you really believe we could see $10 by next week? Yes. Do I think they're going to mention XRP today? Probably not. But if they do mention it, can it go to $10? Yes. Can they mention XRP today? Yes. Will they probably mention it? No. So and that's the reason XRP is not at $10, because it's unlikely they'll mention it, but it is possible. But there's a lot more we can gather from the earnings as well. How much they're using blockchain? Are they going to mention patents, Ripple, RLUSD? It's not just are they going to say XRP or not. Rotu Mem Black says no, that's not going to happen. Maybe 265, then drop again. No. Royton Beckler, if Bank of America mention XRP, will be $5 today, $10 next week. Stephen Mariano, what time is the Bank of America earnings? It is actually, I think, the same time as the PPI inflation data. So we'll get the PPI inflation data and then go straight to the Bank of America earnings. Human Being Liz says, hello, good morning. Yolanda says, good morning, Dave. Human Being Liz says, Pepe, yeah, it's a meme coin. Liz is like, what the hell is that? Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's a Tony says, Sensei, what do you think for the price of HBAR and XLM is getting effective as well when XRP is mentioned? Yeah, they will go up as well. Maybe not as much, but they will cert. I mean, a lot of these tokens are actually getting shorted quite a lot. They are they are oversold. So if XRP has great news, they will also pop, and then they will squeeze their shorts, and then they'll go up sometimes even more. We've seen XLM outperform XRP because it's a lower market cap coin, so less liquidity moves it more. So yeah, I think they'll move in line, especially those H bars, XLM, those sorts of ISO coins will go up as well. Human Being Liz says, hello, Steve, you're a lucky man. Good morning, says David Hensley. Love your Spanish, Sensei. Thank you. Was that Spanish? I don't even know what I was reading. Steve says, hi, Liz. I didn't attempt the German, though. I didn't want to disrespect you. Bitcoins, Craig says, all is well. David Hensley says, smash that like button if you're excited for Bank of America earnings today, please. Yes, we are all excited for Bank of America earnings. If you are excited about Bank of America earnings, it's about 41 minutes. We're also getting PPI sales reports, so the market's going to be very volatile. I say if they mention XRP, it's going to jump $5 to $5. So if you're excited about all of that, we're covering it live on this show, on this channel as well, because we'll go to Martyn for his analysis of the earnings as well. So please do hit that like button. Martyn will be live shortly with the Bank of America earnings. We'll have the build up for it. We'll cover the PPI. Give my thoughts on the Bank of America, and then we'll go straight into the earnings in about 40 minutes time. So make sure you've hit that like button, make sure you have subscribed. I'm going to give you all the information. I'm answering all your questions now, then we'll come on to the information. I'm going to pin the newsletter. If you haven't got the newsletter, I will let me pin it to the top so everyone knows where it is. Let me put that there. Possible bull trap, maybe. I'm quite bullish on XRP right now. Vocal Foster, at least for the short term. Your XRP newsletter lines up with the closing of the weekly candle almost spot on. Good job, Vocal Foster. Yeah, it's we have a pretty good idea of what the weekly candle closes when we do the newsletter. It comes out a little bit before because most people are well, it's about midnight for me when the weekly candle closes, so I like to get it out a few hours before that, but it's close enough. So yeah, I've done it so we can have a good idea of the week, focus on the next week as well. Every Sunday you get that XRP specific newsletter with all the charts and everything, and it's for free. Human Being Liz says, thanks for asking. Hope the same for summertime too. I'm sleeping. Was a short night without news from Martyn. Was checking a bit. Thank you, Liz. Brian says, this time last year, would you have ever thought you would have the best financial newsletter in the world? Brian Bynum, that's an amazing comment. I love it. This time last year, would I have ever thought I'd have the best financial newsletter in the world? No, probably not. No, I was working as a with financial advisors. I was doing my streams on the weekends. I got offered I did all my exams for financial advice, which in the UK are pretty tough. People normally take 2 years, 1 year to do it. 1 year is considered pretty quick. I did them all in 4 months, 5 months, maximum 5 months, I think 4 months. I then got offered a role at that financial advising firm, and I had to make the decision: do I want to become a financial advisor with the FCA regulations, or do I want to come here and stream? Obviously, one was financially much a better option, which would have been staying at the firm, but I did not want to stop streaming with you guys. So yeah, I stopped that. I thought, let's apply the knowledge I've learned to something. I love doing the research and seeing it. So we did a newsletter. And that newsletter goes out every single day with the market news. That's what's the most important for investors, is to understand how to invest, understand the news, understand the trends. And what we're doing now is also a portfolio challenge. We're not doing alerts. I don't like doing alerts. I don't say I'm buying here, buying there. I want you guys to learn. So we're doing research on sectors. This is the portfolio challenge and idea behind it. So we're doing research on sectors. Once we've identified sectors we like, we look at the big players within that sector, stocks within that sector, compare it, not just based off looking at the balance sheet and saying the debt is this, but really diving deep into the balance sheet, doing calculations, comparing each of those stocks within the sector, then looking at the chart, then having a plan, and we're doing it all live. Most of it will be behind a paywall because of how much time and effort goes into that. But yeah, you can sort of see the portfolio challenge live on the show. You can see where we're at. But if you want to follow it in terms of the research, not the alerts, then that will be on the newsletter. So we're doing that so I can apply everything I learned last year or over the last few years. Technical analysis course, I've done that for about 8 years. Been very successful, made all the mistakes, learned the best ways, gone down all different routes, indicators, AI, algorithmic trading. I've made all the mistakes within crypto bull runs. I've made the mistakes within charts. And after all of those 9 years, I want you guys not to make the same mistake. So we're doing the chart as well. We're not doing like a 50-part series. We'll probably do one video, but ongoing support on the Substack. So you'll see videos on the newsletter. You'll see potential live Q&As on the newsletter. Not too many at all, but you'll see a few, and you can learn over there as well. It's a smaller group of people, so we can really focus on everyone there. So yeah, I did not imagine I'll be here, Brian, but I am, and I'm loving it. I think it's the better option than to just go serve some wealthy people and make money. Human Being Liz says, is smiling. Yeah, guys, if you have just tuned in, we are now 36 minutes away from Bank of America earnings and PPI inflation. I'm just going to go through the live chat, make sure everyone's questions are answered, and then go into the analysis. I imagine I'll be reading the chat for another 5 minutes, and then we'll go through all the analysis. If you have just tuned in, if I can ask you for a favor, please hit the like button. Please do subscribe. If you haven't got the newsletter yet, as you heard there, it's the best financial newsletter in the world. Go grab it. It is in the live chat. Let me go back to your comments, make sure I've answered everyone's question. But thank you, Brian, and congratulations on your 2-year badge. I love it. Human Being Liz is smiling. Oh, it seems like we have no other work to do, right? Potato Family says, so 45 for Bank of America earnings, correct? Yeah, it's in about 35 minutes. Martyn might be live a little bit earlier, but yeah, Bank of America earnings is in that timer as well. How does PPI affect USD Canadian dollar? We don't really look at forex on this channel. I don't really like the forex market. I've also tried that. It's not for me. Who actually? Yeah, I've got a lot of experience with that actually. Human being Liz says, "Good point. Good morning to you too." Bitcoin's Craig says, "Don't talk to me about short nights. New York Open is at 10:30 p.m. here, so you can imagine the time I get in bed and my alarm's at 4:45 to get up. Catch up mostly on the weekend." Bitcoin's Craig, where are you in the world? No way Bank of America will mention XRP. They're trying to never talk about it, XRP at all anywhere. There must be a reason why, and that's why I'm holding. Yeah, we know they've got connections. We know they have patterns. We know they work with Ripple. The question is, are they going to start publicly saying it? And they are getting closer and closer. Remember, they never talked about blockchain. Then they started talking about tokenization. They never talked about crypto. Then they started talking about stablecoins last earnings. So they can mention it. They definitely can. Is it unlikely? Yes, but that's the point. If it was likely, then XRP's price would already be at $5, $10. Human being Liz, I know Pepe. I'm just asking why. Oh right, yeah, someone mentioned it. Oh my God, Craig, not healthy. Urban Firewood says, is Martyn more confident of an XRP mention? He'll be live later. You can definitely ask him. I don't know if he's more confident. Uh, what he said yesterday was he knows they're going to mention it at some point. It's just it might be tomorrow. So maybe he is a bit more confident. You can tune into a show later when he covers the Bank of America. Bishop David Black says, "Good morning, enjoying the show. Hopefully all portfolios will be going up today." Yes, I wish everyone's portfolio goes up today. We are 33 minutes away from PPI inflation. That's going to move the markets. XRP. We've got retail sales and Bank of America earnings. Oh, yes. Please stop spamming. That's another reason I'm not answering your question. Maldives. You're also not a member. Sick Boy Customs. Agreed. Newsletter is getting better and better. Good job, Sensei and Mrs. Sensei. Thank you, Sick Boy Customs. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of work going into it. It is going to get better. I mean, I know there's some features that people are waiting for. They are coming. It just takes so much work if you want to do it properly. Human being Liz says, "Okay, great work you have." Human being Liz says, "Hit the like button, please." Yes, thank you. Revved Up Bike says, "The European Central Bank is advancing its central bank digital currency CBDC project, the digital euro, with planned rollout aim for early 2026. Goodness, that's earlier than I thought. Bitcoin's Craig says, "I don't really need to get up at 4:45, but it gives me time to go through the charts and set up my trades for the day." I love it. Ricardo says, "He didn't say good morning, banana heads. WTF?" I never say, it's not really my phrase, is it? It's Vaz. Guy Camp says, "Good morning from Fort Lauderdale. Welcome in." Kimberly says, "Good morning, Sensei, and everyone this morning." Thank you, Kimberly, for being here. Or Kimberly. Human Being Liz says, "You are so professional here, still learning." We're all still learning. I'm still learning. Martyn's still learning. We're all still learning. Where were we? Congratulations, Sensei. Thank you, Guy Kemp. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We missed it, Ricardo. God, this person keeps spamming. What's he saying? Look, this is a prime example, and Maldives, I'm talking to you. Please calm down. This is an example of you're not controlling your emotions. You keep asking me how PPI will affect your trade. It's because you're not confident in your trade, because you don't know what you're doing. You've probably put too much in the trade. You're probably gambling. If you don't know how it's going to affect it and you're spamming the channel, something's going wrong. You're not confident in your trade. You don't understand what you're doing, so just don't do it. It sounds like you're very much on edge. This is an example to a lot of people in the chat as well. If you're always worried, asking questions is fine. But if you're doing it in a panicked way, you are panicking. That is an emotion. The point of the portfolio challenge, the point of investing is you don't panic. If you're panicking, it's already too late. You should not be trading. You're trading on emotion at that point. This person here is a prime example. He's trading on emotion. He keeps wanting me to tell him how PPI will affect USD and Canadian dollars, which is fine. You can ask the question, but if you're going to keep asking it, that shows there's a lot of panic in his investment strategy. And I am talking to Maldives. Please be careful. It sounds like you're about to lose some money. Vocal Foster says, "Sensei, maybe add a social media share button on the newsletter website so it's easier to share." Thank you, Vocal Foster. You can go into any of the articles and share it. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know. This is all sort of Substack, so it's hard. But every one of these articles you can see down here, you can press copy link, share to. You can put it on your notes on Substack. You can send it as a message. You can go on the articles as well and press share, and then you can share the article as well. I do very much appreciate people sharing it, and there is a leaderboard actually. People that share, the more you share, there is perks and benefits you get for sharing it as well. And we've got a full tab here for the XRP weekly newsletter. Anyway, this is going to get better as we go on. I'm conscious we're very close now, so I'm going to quickly skim through the chat so we can get onto the PPI inflation, which is 29 minutes away, and Bank of America. Morning, I'm in Perth. Do you use Microsoft Excel, Power BI? Oh, can someone? What does that even mean? It's probably swearing at me now. Who is this person? Can someone ban him? Or not ban him? Can someone time out whoever this is? What does that even mean? Let's see if we can get to English. Victory to Lord Ram. What the hell is that? It's a bit scary. Can someone time out this person? Victory, praise, or hail? Hail Lord Ram. Oh, it's something Hindu. Yeah, we don't really want that here, because it's just spamming the channel and I don't know what it is. Morning, I'm in Perth, Western. Oh, you're in Australia, Bitcoins, Craig. Well, this show's a bit better than some of Martyn's shows, isn't it? Because it's earlier. So it's before you go to bed, and then you might wake up and you might have the closing bell. Very strange. But thank you for tuning in from Australia. It's always weird knowing where everyone is around the world and what time you're watching it. We missed it, Ricardo. I'm totally PPing myself over PPI. Yeah, we're gonna look at PPI now. Where were we? Oh yeah, do you use Microsoft Excel, Power BI? I've certainly used Power BI before, Microsoft Excel. Power BI is a bit more. You need the bit more expensive. When you use it to an institutional grade, I use that. But I don't know what you mean in what sense. Yes, I've used both. Chris, so I don't see why they'll talk about XRP or LRUSD, because they're a bank and they need it. It's time with We the People. I have a friend who's a manager of a branch. Yeah, they're 100% in. I love that. It's time with the people. Robert says, I think it's wise to sell when it hits $5 in the buyback and lower. Thank you. I have a take profit strategy. It will be shared on the newsletter. I'm totally PPing myself over PPI. I love it. So XRP is decoupled from Bitcoin if it hits $10. It would be, yeah. Live, join me when you feel like it. Martyn is live. So if you want to be with Martyn, what you can do is go onto the link is, I think, somewhere in the chat as well. But you can always just go on the channel and switch over to Martyn. He's got the build up as well. Human Being Liz says, Lola Martyn, good morning. What is your catchphrase, Sensei? You need one. Oh, God, I'm not very good with catchphrases. Someone needs to think of a catchphrase for me. Why join for Martyn Lucas Investor? Just steal us from Sensei. Yeah, Martyn's coming here. He's taking my audience. Sensei keeping his cool glasses on. Okay, we're very close to the end of the comments here. Hope that Martyn got the right key this time. Yeah, guys, you need to let me in. It was very close to the CPI release that I was just talking and I wasn't looking at the chat. And then I looked at it and someone said, Sensei doesn't know. I don't know. What did you guys say? He said Martyn's hijacked the stream. It's time we the people ask ChatGPT. Guy Kemp says, Reuters US posts record 145 billion December deficit as it lays outpace receipts. Thank you. Teresa says, dang, you should do deep dives on Stack Superchain. What the hell is that? Love the work you put in. Thanks for all you do. Thank you so much, Zoo Illuminati. Really appreciate it. Joshua Lewis says, to the person spamming, just ask AI to help you understand how PPI and CPI affects the market, and he can show you how to do it. Yeah, but also be very careful. A lot of people are using, I don't know, ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever to try and get up-to-date news information, but their programs have only been, sometimes it works, sometimes their programs have only been trained up until like December of 2024. It used to be like December of 2012. But it's still not up to date. It's still very inaccurate. If you tell it something, it always tries to agree with you. If you try and you have to do the research first and then use it as a helpful tool. You can't just rely on it because it hallucinates. It's not there yet. I think AI is going to change the world. However, right now, where it is right now, you cannot trust it blindly. One thing is like AI does at the moment is you tell it something and it says you're 100% right. Then you tell it something else, it's like you're 100% right. So it just agrees with you. It's got out of date information. It's good as a tool to help you maybe send an email, or you have your investment thesis and you ask it for some questions specific to the research you've done. It's great for that, but please be careful when you use AI. Not many people know actually how to use AI at the moment. Nazar Ken Mark says, should we wait for the Iran situation to play out before entering along? I don't give financial advice. It's time we the people says, you two are great together. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Human Being List says, so why are we in two chats again? Because Martyn's live as well at the same time, but not on my stream. Good. Google takes itself to all-time high. I'm really pleased to put a lot into Google. Yes, Google's brilliant. MJ, and I think Apple is now using Google Gemini to power their new Siri, which is obviously a big boost as well. Warren Buffett bought a lot of, Berkshire Hathaway bought a lot of Google. Google's the best in the AI space at the moment. If you look at sort of the LM leaderboard, LM Arena leaderboards to see across the board, Gemini is the best AI at the moment. So yeah, Google is crushing it. MJMP, XRP going back to 180 before we pump properly. Does it really matter? If you say it's going to go back to 180, and today we're at $2.08. If before it pumps properly, I think you're suggesting maybe a $5, $8, $10 XRP. Does it really matter if you buy it? If that's what you think it's going to pump properly, but it's going to go to 180 before that. Does it matter if it's at 180 or 208? I think the better argument might be it's going to go back down to 150 or $1 before it bumps properly. But if you only think it's going to go back down to 180 before it pumps properly, does it even matter? Valar says, good morning, Sensei. Are you able to expand on the maturity rule for ancillary assets, especially in regards to XRP, please? We don't, not at the moment. I'm not going to read that comment. It's time to We the People says LMAO. Human Being Liz says, I'm in 2 streams. I love it. Why 2 streams? Just joined with Martyn. Okay, Ricardo. Vival says Jenkins should be. Human Being Liz says, yesterday just stopped your stream, lol. Why 2 streams? Because we're focusing on PPI and then Bank of America. 2 different perspectives. You can choose. Most people like to watch both. Bitcoin's Craig. So yeah, I don't know why. I think Martyn has a build up at the moment. We'll pull up his stream in a second. We said the moment of realization that Martyn stole your audience. Yeah. Roy Pride says, no, I don't. I don't like Martyn. I'll stay with you, mate. He loves to talk about himself boring. Everyone has their own opinion. Teresa says, optimism. Coinbase is building on its open source code. Ricardo says, no thanks, I'll stay with Sensei. AI cab misled you, and remember, I'm just seeking what info on net and history and real facts. I enjoy Sensei, but I could take or leave Martyn. Guys, decide where you want to stay. Let's get into all the information. We're 20 minutes away. Let me explain to you what's coming up in this stream. Let's get prepared for it. Okay, so we have got PPI information coming out. I'm going to read you all the data points coming out in 22 minutes. Remember, all of this data affects the markets, whether you think it's real data, if it's been manipulated, it doesn't matter. The markets will go based off this. Jerome Powell will cut rates or raise rates or pause rates based off this data. If I can tell you anything, was we covered the FOMC in December. Then we got the FOMC minutes, and it just screamed in those minutes, which is sort of the behind the scenes of what they're saying. Very data dependent. Everything is going to be data dependent. They're going to be looking at inflation data and jobs data. That's the only way they're going to be cutting rates. Before we knew they're going to cut rates in 2024 and 2025, they were very far away from the neutral rate. That's the whole point of rate cuts. You're trying to get to the neutral rate. The neutral rate is when inflation's under control and the jobs market's under control and nothing's collapsing. in 2024 and 2025, it was very, very clear that they needed to cut rates. So everyone around the world was in agreement, rates should be cut. In 2026, the Fed is suggesting only one rate cut is needed. The market's pricing in 2 rate cuts, and everyone around the world is disagreeing about pauses, hikes, cuts. So we are now in a very delicate place with rate cuts. And that's why data has never been as important. Or this important, especially with the fact that the FOMC minutes kept saying, we're looking at data, we're only going to look at data, we'll only cut rates if the data supports it. So what data do we need for rate cuts, and why do we want rate cuts? Well, we want rate cuts to come in time and at a good pace, because we want interest rates down, we want money to be able to flow into the markets, we want people to expand their businesses and take on less interest rate debts. It's literally a liquidity injection into the market. But we also want inflation and jobs market under control. So the only way we're going to get rate cuts is if inflation is trending down and the jobs market is maybe weakening a little bit. And here is what data we're getting today. We're getting PPI month on month, year on year. And then we've also got PPI excluding food and energy, and PPI excluding food and energy year on year. Then we've got retail sales. There's still a high impact here. Retail sales month on month, retail sales control group, retail sales excluding autos, PPI month on month, PPI year on year, PPI excluding food and energy, PPI excluding food and energy year on year. All of this data that you see on the screen right now, that's coming out in 19 minutes. You can see how impactful they are. Very high impact today. And then you can see the consensus and previous. So some of these don't have consensus. I'll guide you through them. But when this refreshes, you're going to see this part over here, which says actual. And that's going to change. And that's what the market's going to react to. We'll also have Bloomberg here. We've got some breaking news coming from Bloomberg. Let's just listen into this for a second.
Appreciate it. Yahara noting some decent numbers out of Bank of America a little bit earlier this morning. The media call is underway, and as everyone anticipated, these questions were going to come up about credit cards and interest rates. Danny joins us now for more. Danny, Bank of America seems to be handling this a little bit differently to what we heard from
Bank of America earnings are out.
Yeah, the polar opposite in that they don't clearly want to comment on it. The CFO speaking just moments ago on the media call that I was listening to, Alistair Borthwick, as you would assume, it was the very first question. How do you feel about this proposed or attempted enforcement of a 10% credit card cap for interest rates? CFO Borthwick goes on to say, we're supportive of what the administration is doing around affordability. He goes through the Bank of America history, saying that we do things like trying to limit overdraft fees. We have various product suites to help Americans exactly with this, with affordability, and we are standing by the administration to help them. But on this specific issue of credit card caps on interest rates, they say it is firmly in the public debate arena and that the issues are well understood and nothing more to add. So clearly stepping away. I should say the second question they got was one on politics too, saying, are you ready to support clients in Venezuela for various oil projects? There, the CFO also decides not to engage, saying, yes, of course, we are willing to do whatever it takes to help our clients around the world, but it's too early to say anything on this.
Okay, Bank of America earnings are out, and we're looking for the earnings
that conversation
in a small, shortly. What I'm going to do, and I recommend everyone does this, you see it on YouTube where it has, I don't know how to move out the way. Let me try this side. Okay, let me bring, how do I do this? You see the cogs? No, I can't show you. Anyway, on the bottom right of your screen, you should normally, if you're on a computer on the bottom right, sometimes it's in your settings. If you press the settings button on YouTube on the stream settings, and then press playback speed and put it onto 2 times or 4 times, depending if you've got YouTube Premium or not. Either way, put it on 2 times. It will speed up the show. And you, even though you are live, step number 1 is make sure you've got that red live button, and then step number 2 is to go on to the cogs and go playback speed 2 times. Then you're just 2 seconds behind me. I'm 2 seconds behind Bloomberg, so then you can be as alive and up to date as possible. And then we also have this, which is comes out straight away, so you'll only be about 2 seconds behind me, and that's 0 seconds behind when the data is released. So I always mention that when we do live releases, so everyone can be up to date. Okay, let's go into our very own newsletter. If you don't have the newsletter yet, the link is pinned above. It's also in the live chat. So today's newsletter, the top stories were metals hit record highs. We've been on guys, our silver trade. People laughed at us. People said, why are you buying silver? Gold's the only way to go, even though we liked gold and we're buying gold as well. People said silver's not going to go past $35. People would take profits at $40. People were saying at $60, we're not going to hold. Then at $70, everyone said it's going to crash. And then I said, guys, I'm still bullish. The risk to reward might not be as good, but I'm still bullish. Now we're at $90 per ounce of silver. Absolutely incredible. Who said you can't make money with precious metals? I know Martyn doesn't like precious metals because they don't make money. I disagree. Yes, they're not a company. They don't have a balance sheet. They don't make money, but that's the same with crypto and a lot of assets. It's like oil. I think oil is a valuable commodity. I think gold and silver are valuable commodities, especially silver. There is actual use for it. You can actually sit down and look at the numbers. XRP, it might not make money itself, but you can see the utility. So I disagree with Martyn on that point. And I am bullish on silver. And over the last year, we are up 209% on silver. 209% on silver. That's not leverage. That's not one-to-one. If we were leverage, we'd be 400% up. This is no leverage. We are up on silver over the last year, 209%. Incredible. We want to bring you more analysis like this in the newsletter. So silver up 209% in the last year, sort of well on our way to $100 now. Gold over the last year up 73%. Over the last few years, it's up an incredible amount. Where we bought gold, we did a massive cup and handle structure, and that's why I want to teach everyone about charts as well. Up 179% in a few years on gold, the largest asset in the world. My goal is to make money. I don't care whether that's buying a stock or buying a crypto. I don't care if the asset makes money. I don't care if it's a meme coin. I don't care if it's... I care slightly morally about certain stocks. I personally, everyone has their own strategy. I don't like to invest in gambling stocks because I don't think gambling's good. It ruins lives. I don't personally like to invest in alcohol businesses because I think that ruins lives. So I've got some morals, but at the end of the day, I want to make money. So whether it's crypto, commodities, arbitrage, or and I'm talking about when you buy in one market, sell on another market, stocks, companies, ETFs, whatever makes money, and I think it's going to make money, I want to buy it. I'm a bit different to Martyn in the sense that I don't look for 1% gains or 0.5% gains on margin. I want to take a risk, but also I want the reward to be higher. So you guys might have noticed the difference in strategies there. But yeah, everyone has their own strategy. Anyway, I saw a few people asking about that, so I thought I would address that. Let's go back to so the top stories: metals hit highs, Iran faces economic collapse. Of course, our thoughts are there with the awful situation that's going on in Iran. So many people dying, and yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Otherwise, I'd get a bit upset about that. Next is China shatters trade records. A record 1.19 trillion surplus highlights a pivot to higher value exports. China's doing great. BitGo is filing for an IPO. Is that going to make me money? I'm going to get involved. Well, I'll find out if it's going to make me money or if I think it's worth buying. I'll give some more analysis on that. But BitGo files for an IPO. Netflix makes a cash bid. PPI and that's a big story in the Warner Bros. It wasn't all cash last time. They didn't accept the offer. Now Netflix is back. PPI data, Bank of Earnings, watch for XRP. These are the top stories today. You can get that all for free in the newsletter. One big thing, the great debasement trade. Investors are aggressively rotating out of fiat currencies into physical commodities. This is the one big thing. I'm gonna skip over this. This is all the stuff you get in the newsletter. And the winners, the losers, what I'm looking at, the 5 stories. Again, if you want to be a proper investor, you guys, you need to invest in yourself. You need to understand the news, not fake news, not X news, not headlines, the actual real news. And you can get the 5 headlines every single day to your inbox. It's as easy as it can get. That's the BitGo story there as well. What I'm doing is coming over to some of the more of the deep dives which are relevant to today's show. So we've got 2 deep dives for you today. Number 1 is about the data release. Number 2 is about Bank of America and XRP. Bank of America, let's just quickly look at that story before we come on to PPI. Bank of America, XRP. So Bank of America earnings, the XRP, RLUSD, and Ripple wildcard. Bank of America's earnings, and Bank of America enters today's earnings call at a moment where legacy bank rails are quietly being rebuilt behind the scenes. With ISO 20022 now live across the US, payment infrastructure and regulatory pressure around Ripple largely resolved, attention is shifting from blockchain rails will be used if blockchain rails will be used by a tier 1 bank and how far they are along already. For XRP holders, this call matters for one reason: confirmation. Bank of America holds one of the largest blockchain and Ripple related patent portfolios among US banks and has been long linked to Ripple infrastructure at the plumbing level. The market isn't expecting a headline announcement, but even a single operational reference could change sentiment fast. So that is why we're keeping an eye on Bank of America earnings. That's also happening in 10 minutes' time. There's more to the story here, so go check it out. But first thing that happens, which will move the markets, will be PPI data release, all about Jerome Powell. I know some of you weren't happy with my post I put on my X and on my Substack notes. If you go to the newsletter, I also write notes, but it's easier for me to pull it up here for a second. Let me go to my profile. I said this about Jerome Powell. Imagine being Powell right now. Inflation, he brought it down from 9% to 2%. He's kept unemployment at 4%. Everyone thought we're going to be in a massive recession. Stocks, Bitcoin, and gold all got all-time highs, and people still demand he resigns. Let me know your thoughts below. No one's let me know their thoughts yet. Let me give you the link directly to this. You can follow me on X and also leave a comment below. Why is there $10 in the thumbnail? 4 or 5 cards? Well, because of my prediction is if Bank of America mention XRP, which again I don't think they will, but they might. I think Martyn might have some more information and why he thinks they will. But if they do mention it, Martyn asked me the question: where do you think it will go? I said $5 this week, $10 next week. $5 this week, $10 next week. So there's a little snippet in the thumbnail there for you on that. Okay, so PPI, that's the first thing that's going to happen. Remember, when that happens, we're going to have the data here. We're going to have it on Bloomberg, so stay with us in 9 minutes' time. If we can ask everyone for 1 second to make sure to hit that like button. It helps a lot. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. It takes a second. And if you haven't got the newsletter, it's pinned in the comment section, first line of the description as well. Here we go. PPI now 7 minutes and 40 seconds away. PPI is wholesale inflation. If you don't know what PPI is, it's the price producers receive before the cost filters through to consumers. So it's sort of like what the producer's inflation is, and most of the time they might pass that through, and it can come into CPI. So it's a great way of seeing what the future holds. It matters because it leads CPI. If PPI accelerates, consumer inflation pressure tends to follow with a lag. If it cools, inflation risk fades at the source. The Bureau of Labor Statistics releases today's data at 8:30 Eastern Time. That's in 6 minutes and 55 seconds, with consensus for November PPI at 0.2% month over month. That 0.2% level is the dividing line between stable and re-accelerating inflation. So remember, always look at consensus. The further away it deviates from consensus, the bigger the market move, and whichever way it goes, I'll tell you what it means. With inflation, the higher inflation is, the worse it is, because that means Jerome Powell won't cut rates and will hold it steady. The lower it is, it means it gives them room to cut. At the same time, not only are we getting PPI, we're getting retail sales. So at the same time, retail sales test the demand side of the economy. Even if inflation pressure eases, so if we get PPI lower, markets still need confirmation that the consumer isn't rolling over. Expectations center around 0.4% month-on-month increase. That's the consensus, reflecting delayed holiday period data. Layered on top is a separate shock variable. If the proposed 10% credit card interest rate cap, this introduces a policy-driven tightening risk that can amplify whether signal today's market data delivers, particularly for card-heavy banks. That's why we're also covering Bank of America. Time for a PP before PPI, says Revved Up Biker. God. What do you think of gold? I'm thinking of selling. Javid Gaming, I don't give advice. If it was easy for me to sell my gold, would I be selling something? I mean, I have to go down to a dealership, get out the safety deposit box, which is actually pretty good. It stops the emotional side of things. Would I sell some gold and silver? Potentially, yeah. Just because we bought it so early. So I don't think it's a terrible idea to take profits from silver and gold, but I still think there is upside just because we're up. Because everyone's argument is we're up so much, we can't go up higher. Oh, we can. Just like a lot of people in the stock market. Again, a point of content. Me and Martyn were discussing this. Martyn's out the market because he thinks euphoria stage crash is coming. I don't like to be out the market. I think many people have called for crashes before and they just haven't happened. Or they happen a bit later and you get left behind. I think the euphoria stage is when you make the most money. We're in the euphoria stage for the market. We're in the euphoria stage for silver and gold. If you're always out every time we hit euphoria, you don't make money. The cheat sheet, PPI outcomes and market meanings. PPI below consensus. Let me see if Martyn, we can see Martyn's live. I think he's live right now.
Solid foundation has...
Here we go. Yeah, Martyn is live right now as well. The cheat sheet, PPI outcomes and market meaning. So this is the cheat sheet with all of this. Well, we've read all that. Okay, so PPI. Consensus is 0.2% month on month. That is this figure. Yeah, excluding food and energy, which is probably the more important figure over here, it's 0.2%. Including food and energy, it's also 0.2%. So yeah, PPI month on month, one of the numbers we're looking at is 0.2%. If it's below that, if it's at 0.1% month on month, that's great. Inflation is cooler, faster than expected, faster than the market expects. Input cost pressure fades, reducing the risk of CPI reacceleration and giving flexibility for the Fed in 2026. So the market response will be treasury yields fall, dollar softens, equities rally led by growth and tech. If PPI is at consensus, don't expect too much. Look at the next data points. PPI above consensus, that's when we'll get a sell-off in the markets. We also have retail sales. So also on this list is retail sales up here, just above my head, these three here. Sorry, these two over here. Retail sales month on month and then retail's control group. So we're looking at retail sales month on month. The consensus is 0.4. So if we get it lower than 0.4 or closer to 0.1%, what it means is consumers' spending is stalling. People are not spending money. The holiday momentum faded faster than expected. It means it's weakening the outcome for early 2026 growth. So what does that mean for the markets? If the numbers, the further away it is from 0.4 and the lower it is, equities will fall, defense sector will outperform, cryptos will weaken because they will go in line with equities, and rate cut expectations move away. If it's at consensus, then you look at the PPI, and if the PPI is at consensus, then we move on to Bank of America. But I'm sure something will move the markets here. Or if retail sales is above consensus, if we get it plus 0.6, plus 0.7, plus 0.8, what that means is everyone's spending money. Spending money is great. The growth momentum will carry into 2026, but inflation risk will rise. The market response will be equities rally, treasury yields rise, defenses underperform. So we want to see PPI down, we want to see retail sales up. So this is the combination. If we get soft PPI and strong retail, inflation pressure fades while demand holds. Risk on environment. That is the perfect storm. So when we are on this page and we see the numbers come out, the one right above my head there, retail sales 0.4%. We want that to be high. The one over here with PPI, 0.2% over these two. I'll show you exactly. I'll commentate it and then we'll go to Bloomberg. We want that to be as low as possible. That would be the perfect storm. So if we get hot PPI and weak retail, that's worst case. If we get soft PPI and weak retail, we have a growth scale, but Fed gains more room to ease. If we get hot PPI and strong retail, growth holds, but rates stay restricted for longer. So the best case is PPI lower than expected, retail higher than expected. Worst case is the opposite. Inflation higher than expected, and retail weaker than expected. So we're going to go over to this. I'll commentate it. I'll let you know. I'll give you my full analysis after. Then stay with me because then it's Bank of America. I want to give you some analysis on that. So in 37 seconds time, we're going to get all that information. Let me see if I can move it out the way a little bit for you guys. What we're looking at over here is retail sales up here, just above my head, and then PPI down here. I'll commentate it for you. We're 25 seconds away. Let's make sure Bloomberg is up to speed. Make sure you've got the live button on so you can all see it. Okay, 18 seconds to go now. Everyone knows what we're looking for. Low inflation, high retail sales, and we've got the markets on the screen as well. So let's go over to our breaking news as well. XRP on the left. Here we go. Retail sales is higher than expected. That's the only number refresh for now. That's great. What else? Numbers are coming in now fast. We've got retail sales higher than expected. That is good for now. Let me turn Bloomberg on as well. They'll be getting this information.
Latest data. Let's cross over to Mike McKee for more. Hey, Mike.
Good morning, John.
PPI, we're waiting.
Move the needle a little bit for the equity markets with retail sales coming in up 0.6% after being flat. That's the headline, flat in the month of October. These are November numbers, so we're behind, remember, because
PPI's
of the shutdown.
higher.
X autos up 0.5%.
PPI's at 3. That's not brilliant.
And X autos and gas up 0.4 as well. The control group, which is what we really
okay, I'll give you my thoughts in a second.
0.4%. That's up. That's down from a 0.6 gain, revised lower for the month of October. The PPI numbers are not out yet. They're slow to come out. Here we go. Producer price index increased 0.2% in November. Now, remember, these are September to November numbers because there were no October numbers, just like with CPI. The PPI for the year, let's see if we have an annual basis number, 3%. For the 12 months ended in November. And that's the headline. Now, if you want to take the core, which we usually consider the...
Okay, we've actually got all the numbers come out now. So a little bit more headroom. Retail sales is higher than expected. People are spending money. That is great news. But then when you look at the PPI side of things, it's more than expected. So excluding food and energy, 0%. 0% excluding food and energy month on month. But year on year was slightly above. I think people are going to look at that and think, and I don't know, it's a mixed reaction, really. Let's go back to Bloomberg. So we've got retail sales great, month on month PPI great, but year on year not brilliant. So I'm a bit more bullish than bearish. Let's break this down a bit more.
A decent picture of the overall economy.
Well, probably not in terms of the data that comes in for the overall economy, but it gives us a direction. The January meeting, they've already said they're probably not going to be cutting, and I would assume that this kind of data seals that, and then they'll have 2-3 more reports on all of these things before the next meeting in March. So they'll have a much cleaner read by the time we get to the end of the first quarter. Just quickly here, motor vehicle sales were up by 1%. Sales of parts and cars, furniture down 0.1%, building materials up 1.3%, groceries up just 0.1%. And remember, we saw in CPI that the grocery price indexes went up. So since all this is calculated on a dollar basis, that's kind of interesting. Gasoline sales up 1.4%, clothing stores up 0.9%, and department stores flat. Department stores down 2.9%, general merchandise flat. This is November numbers, so these would have been the Black Friday numbers, and they don't seem to be as good as you might have hoped for that period of time in terms of holiday gifts.
Might just stand by. I'll get to some of the price action. I want to come back to you in just a moment. We'll talk about the Federal Reserve. Equity futures off the back of all of this, pretty much unmoved. We were a little bit softer going into the opening bow. That's where things stay. In the bond market, looking across the yield curve, 2s, 10s, 30s, yields were lower, still lower by a basis point or two across the curve. And in foreign exchange, bit of a snooze for euro dollar, just about unchanged on the session at 116.45. Mike, let's park the data and park the price action. I wanted to talk to you about the universal pushback we've seen to developments around the Federal Reserve over the past few days. To see all these central bankers sign on to the same note. What was your reaction to that, Mike?
I think central bankers are looking at this from the point of view of what's good for themselves is having the Fed be independent and not under the control of any politician, because if the Fed is moving interest rates around, it's going to affect people's currencies, and that's going to affect their economies. So they have a vested interest in this. It's interesting that Neil Kashkari, in an interview with the New York Times that's just out, says that Jay Powell was right, that this is about monetary policy, the president's efforts, and that Powell explained the situation accurately. Kashkari saying he doesn't see any impetus to cut in January. And we might also mention the
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. Again, most of these data releases won't be big sudden moves, but sometimes you catch them and it's worth keeping an eye on. Also, it's great for building a long-term picture of your portfolio. So again, nothing massively different with with this data release than we expected. We're going to be going over to Bank of America and the XRP story in a second, but let me just unpack this data for you. So remember, we looked at retail sales. We wanted that to be higher. It was higher than consensus. Brilliant. More headroom. The economy is strong, and it's a brilliant sign. We wanted retail sales to be higher. Then we look at PPI, which is the way we sort of measure inflation before it gets down to CPI. The month on month was 0.2, 0.2. That's just the normal PPI. The year on year consensus was 2.7. We got 3%, so slightly higher. But the interesting part is when you exclude food and energy, which you sort of do because that's very volatile. Month on month, we actually got 0%. So that's pretty good for PPI. That shows that inflation is coming down. And we've also got PPI food and energy year on year, which is slightly above. So we've got a mixed picture here, but I wouldn't say any of this is too concerning. I don't like seeing year-on-year inflation at 3%, but I don't think it's 1 month's data. I don't think it's a massive warning yet. Anyway, if we get 3% again, then maybe it is a warning. But for now, I think some people would have been on the sidelines because they're anticipating bad data. They don't want to be in a market when the data is bad. Now it allows them to get back in. So we might continue with the rally. Let's take those off the screen. We had XRP all the way on the left. That's reacted well after coming down all of last night. The S&P 500 is down on this data, and Bitcoin's pretty flat. So nothing major. I don't think the S&P 500 likes the data too much, but nothing dramatic. Let me bring up on the screen each of these charts in a bit more detail. The S&P 500, if we go over to the 5-minute time frame, is down 0.36% today, and since that data release, it is down also 0.1%. So nothing major on the S&P 500. Gold is not reacting too much, maybe slightly down. Silver is also slightly down on that, all because it doesn't confirm rate cuts. That what you need to take away from this data, as I said at the beginning, it's all about rate cuts, and it's all about the data. Everyone's watching the data very closely. If it doesn't signal rate cuts need to happen, they simply won't happen. This data didn't say we're going to get rate cuts. We're not going to, the data didn't support rate cuts. It wasn't low enough. We're not going to get rate cuts. There will not be rate cuts in January. You can hold me to that. If I'm wrong about it, I will never stream again. I'm not wrong. I don't think there's many more data releases before the January FOMC, but there will not be a rate cut based off this because I'm so confident in our analysis that we've been covering this for too long now. We understand everything. We can't afford to be wrong about these things. We covered the FOMC. We covered the minutes. It's all about data. The data does not support rate cuts, so there will not be rate cuts, especially when we're so close to that neutral rate. So if you thought rate cuts will happen, they're not happening. Now what we look at is Bank of America. Are they going to mention XRP? Probably not, but we'll get Martyn's thoughts on that. He's live with the earnings now. I'll send you all there in a second so we can listen into the Q&A. And then later today, we've got the tariff decision. So if we are, I think Martyn would want to cover that. I will try and cover that as well. I will be live later with the tariff decision. I think that's in a couple hours time. So I will see. Maybe Martyn will want to do that. I'll try and do it for you guys. That will be the tariff decision. We'll have some analysis for that. All of the analysis, as always, is in the newsletter. So I do urge anyone, if you do not have the newsletter, I know we've got 731 people watching, a lot of people tuned in for that. So I really do appreciate you joining. I hope you enjoyed these. Yes, sometimes they're not as dramatic as we might want with the data releases, but if we don't cover all of them, then we won't catch those ones. And those ones are really important. And these ones are even more important because it helps build a picture of our rate cuts going to happen. What's our investment thesis? So these are all important. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Everyone new that's tuned in and has never been here before, hasn't decided to sign up to the newsletter, go and check it out. There is a 1-week free trial for the premium plan. You get all of these perks and benefits. Let me go over to this screen over here, otherwise you can't see me. All of these perks and benefits. There's a free tier. You get all the daily newsletter, the first part. You get the weekly XRP newsletter for free. If you want to be a premium member, we're launching their £5,000 challenge. It's the best time to join. I'm literally starting it now, so you wouldn't have missed out anything. Then there's the training course coming this month. Then there's a budget planner and debt planner. There's all the deep dives. It is, as someone said in the chat today, the best financial newsletter out there. So much work goes into it. I hope you appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let me answer a few of these questions before we go over to XRP and Bank of America. We've got the whole story in the newsletter, by the way, for Bank of America and XRP. If there's a tariff update, I'll put it in the newsletter as well. Faster, stronger, more legroom, yes. 750 watching Sensei. Thank you, Ricardo. I would have thought we wanted to go down, including retail sales. No, we want retail sales to go up. May the force be with you, says Andrew. PPI. Okay. Well, okay. Let's go over to Martyn. If you stay exactly where you are, this stream will take you to Martyn. Martyn is live right now with the Bank of America. So I'm going to give you the link in the live chat. 10 a.m. Bank of yeah, we will be hopefully covering that. It's in a couple hours, isn't it? There is the link. That's where you should go now. Click on it or stay where you are. You'll automatically go there to Martyn's show. As always, I always appreciate every single one of you tuning into these shows and all the support you give, whether it's on the newsletter or on the channel. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, stay where you are. You'll go over to Martyn or click that link. You'll go over to Martyn. Sign up to the newsletter in the meantime. Bye-bye.